Hello, everyone, and good morning. Today, I want to talk about persistence and perseverance, topics that people don't like, they don't want to talk about because they're not comfortable. And this is about breaking out of comfort zones and breaking into where you're called to go. Have you ever felt like giving up on everything, just completely throwing in the towel, saying, it's not enough, I'm not willing to do what it takes if it requires me to feel this way? Have you ever hit a breaking point, a plateau where you say, I can't go forward? I've tried everything. Have you ever felt like just throwing it in and giving up? It's a natural human thing because we hit a point where we just can't take it anymore, where we just can't keep struggling and something has to change. There's two things that you can do if you've ever felt like giving up. One, step away from that thing that you're trying to break through with. Step away from trying. Stop trying and stop pushing forward. Just give up. Just completely stop doing it. Temporarily, not forever. I'm not talking about forever giving up. You see, you only give up and fail if you give up forever. Sometimes there are seasons and there are moments when you can give up temporarily, lay it aside temporarily, and focus on the real thing at hand. The real thing that will get you your breakthrough. So often somebody's like, I need customers in my business. I need finances. I need more staff, more employees. When the real thing is this, that's not what they need. What they really need is so much deeper than that, and it's in their soul, and they haven't dealt with it on that deep level. And so they're trying to solve it by putting Band-Aids everywhere else. And the Band-Aids don't stick. They fall off because of that. And so they give up on trying, and they feel like this is never possible. I'm never going to make it. I'm never going to reach that level that I know other people can, because maybe I'm just not cut out for it. Maybe I'm just not made for that. Maybe that's not for me. And they make decisions in that and choices, and then those choices follow, and people give up on their dreams and they lay them down forever. And then later down the line, life comes up and reminds them of those dreams, and they pick it back up again. And that yet they hit the same wall over and over again. And that's how, have you ever tried maybe 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years to break through to something, to break through to the next level, maybe to build a business, to build your relationship, to grow in your spiritual walk? And yet you find you're constantly hitting the same barrier, and you're like, you know what? I touched that hot stove again, and it burnt me the second time, and the third time, and the fourth time, and I'm going to give up. And then you make a decision to never do that thing again because of the shame, the fear, and the pain. And you want to avoid the pain, so you never go back there, and you give up on everything, and you throw it away. Have you ever experienced this in your life? I want to know this. If you're watching this right now and you've ever felt like giving up on everything, and what that thing is, possibly, if you feel comfortable sharing that. You know, I want to share my personal one myself with you, just a testimony. When I was 10, 11 years old, I had a dream to go to Hollywood and to make movies, to help like sci-fi films and action films, and to teach lessons to people, to teach life lessons, to help people to shift and change their mind, and to bring, love to people. Some good, awesome movies. I loved watching stuff like Star Wars. I loved the Avengers. I loved watching films, stuff like, The Transporter. I grew up, I would also watch films like The Ten Commandments. There was the series, like the Jesus series. So it was like this juxtapose of animation, film production. And I laid that down. I gave up on that vision. I gave it up completely. And I shut it off because everything I tried to do to break through to that, I hit a wall, and I felt like I could not do this without giving up my morals, and I'm not willing to give up my morals. And so I chose to not go in that place. And what's happened now, 20 years later? I'm 31 years old now. I'm young. I get it. A lot of you watching me are older and wiser and have more wisdom and experience than me. But what I want to say is this: that 20 years I laid that down, and now it's starting to come up again, and I'm starting to see, wait a sec, there's a path. I wasn't supposed to go into film school when I was 20 years old, 11 years old, 15 years old. But what I was supposed to do was go into business, learn that, become a financier, a producer, and now I'm starting to write scripts and write out storylines and allegories that can be used and made into movies, and then also partnering with people. Last year we helped promote a movie. It was called Beautifully Broken. We actually worked with them. They contacted me and I helped them do promotion on Amazon. They ended up hitting the top 50 for DVD sales during that time because we ran some Facebook ads with them. And so I'm seeing little pieces of how my life started to lead up to this. I started doing video production. I teach people how to communicate on video. Video is film. 15, 20 years ago, all we had were expensive cameras. And so I learned, okay, communication is what's missing. People don't know how to communicate in business. How can I help people communicate in marketing? And now I'm starting to see all those skills that I learned are starting to come into play over the last 20 years to be able to help produce and then market and create stories and then sell them in the marketplace in Hollywood. And so what happened was that dream and that vision that I had 20 years ago is coming back full force, coming back into my life full force. And I can see it's actually a calling. I wasn't supposed to lay that down forever. It was just supposed to be for 20 years. It was just supposed to be to go through the process and the season of growing in that. And, I told my wife the other day, I said, I want to, by the time I'm 40, 45 years old, win an Oscar award for a film, whether it's producer, director, probably not actor, maybe I'll do a cameo like Stan Lee type of a thing. But, and so that's a dream that I had laid down and that didn't seem possible. It's a big dream, and I also want to do stuff with technology and video games and music and stuff like that. But all of that even encompasses, films and that. And I laid that dream down for 20 years. And this isn't about me. I want to use it as a testimony to say that 20-year period of laying it down and now it's starting to come to fruition, complete fruition. But it took time in the process, and the process couldn't be skipped. And so if you've ever given up on something, if you've ever laid it down, if you've ever did that and God's starting to put it on your heart and your mind and your spirit, I want to say this: persevere, press through. Don't give up. It might need to lay it down for a season and you might need to grow in that area. There might be something deep inside of you that God wants you to grow in and learn new skill, gain new knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Maybe it's building a social media following. Maybe it's starting an app. Maybe it's selling crafts. Maybe it's selling cupcakes. Who knows what it is? Because in that process of doing what doesn't look like that dream, you're going to grow in the areas that you need to reach that dream. That's what it is, you guys. That's what it is. And so the process to grow, to reach that dream is going to take 20 years. Some of you who are single right now that don't have a spouse, or maybe you're in a marriage and you're struggling in your marriage, press through and persevere. Have a dream of having the marriage the way that you wish. You have a dream of what your marriage would be like. And maybe you're single, you're in a marriage. Press in and grow in your marriage to be the best spouse that you could be, to be the best spouse that your future spouse is praying for right now. And if you're praying for a spouse, you yourself need to grow into the person that your spouse is praying for, that you've already been destined to be, and you need to grow to that place. That's how I met my wife, Abigail. Okay? And I sent her a DM and I wrote her, and she was a follower of mine on social media. And I said, hey, you want to go get some dinner? And that was 5 years ago. And we got married almost 2 years ago now. And now I'm growing into being the best husband I can be. And trust me, I'm not every day. But I'm working on it, and I'm working at it, and staying faithful and persistent and pressing through to the dream and the vision and the plan and purpose that God has for my life. So whatever that is, if you ever feel like giving up on everything, don't give up on everything. Just lay it down maybe for a season and grow and dig deep into that area that God wants to maybe pull out of you and refine new wine and anoint for oil to pour out to Him for your destiny and the calling that He made you for from this day forward. Grow your life, everybody, and we'll talk soon.